Hello everyone, I hope you're all having an excellent day. We are going to take a short break from the Capablanca saga to check up on the FIDE World Team Championship. It's a tournament taking place from 5th to 14th in Kazakhstan, Astana. And 10 teams will be fighting for, well, the title of World Team Champion. And it's an invitational, so all of the 10 teams have been invited. I know that Poland rejected their offer to participate, and instead of Poland, Sweden decided to participate. We're going to talk a bit more about the teams after we check up on this game. And this is the first game that we're showing from this championship, and it's already round 3, so we do have a bit catching up to do, but I really like this game. I'm sure you're going to enjoy it. So before we check out the actual game, here are a couple of nice photos. All the photos are from the official photographer, David Lada. So there you have it, as we are showing the game, Nepo versus Yu Yang. There you have it, the team of Russia, Sergei Karakin, Jan Nepomniachtchi. There you have it, Grishchuk opening up his bottle of water, and Vladislav Artemiev all the way in the back. And there is this gentleman here. I cannot recognize him, and it seems like he's showing something to Nepo. Hard to say what it is. Could be a new shiny belt buckle or something. But yeah, just a very nice photo of the team. And while we're on the subject of belt buckles, I always thought it'd be really cool, like, to have a belt buckle where you have like a king and a rook, and then if you buckle your belt, you just castle. I always thought that would be nice. I don't think other people would think it's nice. I just always thought that'd be something nice to have. But also here we have a nice photo of all of them before the game starts. There you have it. The handshake is all over the place. For China, there we have it. First board, Ding Liren versus Sergei Karakin, then Yu Yang against Nepo, the game we're just about to show, then Wei Yi versus Alexander Grishchuk, and Vladislav Artemiev on the final board against Bu Xiangji on board 4. We're going to talk a bit more about the results after the game. So let's check it out. It's a very exciting game, a lot of action going on, and well, it's just a nice game. So Nepo opens with E4. Sorry about that, one of the few times that I actually forgot to do this. E5, knight to F3, knight to F6, and D4 now. So the Petrov's defense is on the board. We have the Steinitz attack. Knight captures on E4, bishop to D3, and now D5. This is all standard theory of the Petrov, of the Steinitz attack. Knight captures on E5, and now knight to D7. Captures, and here white just castles. We have bishop to d6, and now knight to c3, preparing to capture the knight here. Knight captures, b captures on c3, black doesn't want to waste any time, and now black just castles. So here, it's one of those quick variations where all of the knights are exchanged already on move 9. And both players are left with a bishop pair. So it's always, you're playing the game, you think, okay, I have a bishop pair, my position is great, but then all of a sudden your opponent also has the bishop pair, so it's really just crazy. And here Nepo goes for queen to h5. Seems like a very barbaric plan, but it's also the best plan, because you're already threatening checkmate. So you do have to block it. You don't want to ruin your position a bit too much by going g6, then the queen moves, maybe bishop to h6 comes in. So first we have f5. Now, okay, the bishop controls the f5 pawn, the pawn blocks the bishop, so there are no threats here. Rook to e1, Nepo develops the rook, c6, and the bishop to g5, attacking the queen. Queen to c7, and here it's move 12, and already this position has been played. For example, one of the stronger players who have reached this position in 2009 in the World Cup is Maxime Vachier-Lagroix versus Boris Gelfand, where c4 was played. And c4 is in fact the strongest move recommended by the engine, but it seems that Nepo either knew this and he prepared something else, or perhaps he just had an inspiration over the board, and he goes rook to e3. A very nice rook lift, a much more enjoyable move, a more aesthetically pleasing move, if you will. The threat is rook to h3, already doubling up on the h-file, and, well, queen would very much like to capture on h7. So if you did something like rook 8 to e8, then rook to h3 would be very dangerous. For example, you have to block, now you have to play h6, and white can just grab here. Bishop captures, and you cannot even capture back. If you capture back, then, of course, you are getting checkmated. So a lot of poison to this rook lift by Nepo, rook e3. You have to first kick away the queen. This is what Yu Yang does. We have g6, queen to h4, and only now rook 8 to e8. with hopes of exchanging rooks. Nepo doubles up. Now rook to h3 isn't all that impressive because there are various ways that you can defend the h7 pawn. You can go rook e7, rook f7. You could go bishop c8. Then the queen also defends the h7 pawn. So rook to h3 here is not so powerful. So first, rook a to e1. You do want to develop, all of the pieces before you start any rash decisioning. Rook captures on e3, rook captures, and now rook to e8. Yuan Gui wants to exchange the other pair of rooks as well. And only now c4, a very principled idea. Your c pawn is doubled. You do want to trade it for black's very strong d5 pawn, and also, if black captures, then you of course have this diagonal for your bishop, which will be very nice. Rook captures on e3 first, bishop captures on e3, and now bishop to e8. So the queen can now come back into the game. And here we have c5. Pushing the bishop back, asking basically, do you want to go bishop to e7, attack my queen? Then I will just go bishop to g5, trade bishops. But rather, Yuan Gui goes queen to e7. He wants to trade queens immediately. And here we have bishop to g5. Now the queen is attacked, and also the bishop here is still attacked. So what does black do? Queen to e1 check, bishop to f1 blocking, only move, and now just bishop to f8. The bishop will be very useful here. You don't want to allow something like bishop here, queen here, and then all of a sudden white is threatening checkmate. So a very nice defending piece on f8, this dark square bishop. We have bishop to e3, now blocking the queen's control of the e file. So black would very much like to retreat, let's say queen e7, in hope of trading queens, and also the queen would be a very nice defensive piece. But now white pretty much locked the queen out of the e file, so the queen has to find a different way how to get back into the game. Here Yuan Gui goes queen to f5, queen to a5. He wants to go queen to c7, and maybe the queen can now rejoin the defense. Bishop to f4, blocking the c7 square. Now the queen is controlling d8, this bishop is controlling c7, so there's not a lot of ways the queen can get back into the game. First, black goes bishop to f7. We have queen to f6 now, infiltrating with the queen. Now there are, of course, ideas. Bishop to e5 followed by queen to h8 would be deadly. So first you have to kick away the queen. We have bishop to g7, and now comes queen to d6. And here queen to e1. If you went for the d4 pawn, for example, bishop captures, then you get queen b8 check. After king to g7, you get bishop to d6, now threatening all sorts of ideas. And after bishop to g8, you do have to make some room for a king on h8, otherwise queen to f6 is coming, so bishop here. But now queen captures with check, king h8, and now queen to e7. And black will have a very unpleasant position here where he will constantly have to keep an eye on this diagonal. For example, if you're not careful or something, let's say you grab a pawn, then white can even sacrifice a queen for a very nice bishop checkmate here. The king has nowhere to go, as his own light square bishop is blocking his path. So after this queen to d6 move, we have queen to e1 first. Now the queen wants to come back into the game via the e file, and Nepo just closes the e file once again. We have bishop to e3, and now comes bishop to f8. Attacking the queen, forcing the queen to move, queen to b8, now threatening to pick up the pawns from the queen side, and while black was able to prevent any checkmating ideas, he had to allow at least some loss of material in favor of white. So b6 here, we have pawn captures, and queen captures. Nepo grabs a pawn, and by doing this, he created a very strong passed a pawn now. So even if white doesn't do anything regarding any checkmating ideas, he can just push his passed pawn, and he wins the game. So black has to do something about this. We have queen to a1. Now, of course, you cannot push the pawn, as black will just win it. Queen to a7. Now just defending the pawn, and now black doesn't really have all that many active ideas. What black wants to do is somehow break through the center. That's why c5 is played. And perhaps if, things happen, then maybe this bishop can come to c4 and threaten some checkmating ideas, of its own. Queen to a8 first. Now, pinning the bishop here, bishop to h6 will be a deadly threat. So let's say you play d captures on c5 here, like we mentioned, then just d4 is very strong. And now after you move the bishop, let's say anywhere, then bishop to c4, it was the plan, just to explain c5. But okay, queen to a8. And now you don't really have a good way of preventing this. If you go king g7, still bishop to h6 wins the game. King captures, queen captures with check. King has to move. Now you lose the other bishop as well, and well, white is just up a bishop and winning. So after this queen to a move, Yu Yangyi finds a different plan. Queen to e1. Now the idea is after this bishop to h6 move, you can just defend with queen to e8, so not the greatest of plans. So instead, after this queen to e1 move, first we have d captures on c5. Nepo just takes this opportunity to create yet another very strong pass pawn, which is now even closer to becoming a queen. d4 now, attacking the bishop, but also threatening bishop to c4. Again, if you capture the pawn, you get bishop to c4. Black is now winning, as queen captures on f1 will be deadly. So after d4, we have bishop to h6. White cannot afford to waste time. Now, of course, you cannot play bishop to c4 due to queen captures on f8 with checkmate. So bishop to e8, blocking. We have queen to d5 check, bishop to f7 now, and now queen to d8, again threatening to capture here. And now you cannot block again. If you try something like bishop to bishop here, then black is pretty much tied down. Just c6 will win the game. You're threatening to bring a queen into the game. If you capture, sorry, not that. The bishop is not a knight. If you capture, then queen captures on f8. So after queen to d8, we have queen to e7. Now black has to bring the queen back into the defense, but now it is far too late. Nepo goes queen captures, we have bishop captures, and now c6. The threat, of course, is c7 and c8. So Yu Yangyi stops the pawn, bishop to d6, controlling the c7 square. We have g3 now. Nepo has plans of now playing bishop to f4 to exchange the dark square bishop, so the pawn can continue advancing forward. Bishop to d5, threatening to capture on c6, but now, again, a very nice move, just a4. Bishop to b5 was also possible, but a4 is just a much nicer move, because now if bishop captures, you get bishop to c4 check. The king has nowhere to go. King has to go to h8, and now you just push a5. And with the black king being cut off from the game completely, there's no way this king is ever coming back into the game. White is just gonna bring the king into the game, maybe win the d4 pawn, and then get closer. The bishop pair will now control all of the important squares that are needed for pushing off this pawn, and black king will just be stuck there in the corner, watching helplessly. So after this a4 move, we have king to f7. Bringing the king into the game, of course, and only now bishop to b5 defending. Bishop to c7, so black decided it was better just to, keep the pawn alive, but activate the king. In the endgame, a king is just as valuable as any other piece, sometimes even more valuable, sometimes. Bishop to c7, blocking the pawn, but also controlling the a5 square. We have bishop to f4 now. White even offers to double his own f pawn. Just to get rid of this, controller of the dark squares. So bishop captures, pawn captures, and now king e7. Black finally gets his king into the center of the board, but now c7. The bishop and pawn are preventing the king from reaching the d8 or d7 square, so you do have to play something. Bishop to b7, preventing the pawn from queening, and now just a5. And it was in this position on move 44 that Chinese Grandmaster Yu Yangyi resigned the game, and a very nice victory for Yan Nepomniachtchi, whose victory got Russia a full 2 points, because here when you win a game you get two match points, a draw will win you 1 match point, and of course a loss will win you no match points. But yeah, a very nice game by Nepo. Here black resigns as there is no way to prevent the queening of the pawn. If you play something like king d6, you have to bring the king into the game. Just a6 is coming, and then doesn't really matter. If you go bishop to a8, then this pawn queens. If you play something like this, then again just a7, threatening the queen. Again you have to block, and then just any pawn, let's say you bring a queen into the game, captures the other pawn queens. So nothing to do here. White always ends up being up a queen. So after this a5 move, Yu Yangyi resigned the game, and with this victory in round 3 of the FIDE World Team Championship, Russia takes first place. Here we have, this is from the official FIDE website, there you have it, Russia with 6 match points. I thought China had a really good shot at winning this, as they did so extremely well in the Olympics. But here they won only one match so far. The previous round, in round 2, Alexander Linderman won a very nice game, so and all the other games were drawn. So China lost against the United States in the previous round, and now with this victory by Yan Nepomniachtchi over Yuan Gi, also full 2 match points. So Russia is now in first place, followed by India with 5 and USA with 5, England with 5. Then Iran with 3, Kazakhstan with 3, China with 2. Very, very hard to see China so far back. But it's a tough competition. Then Azerbaijan with 1, and then Egypt with 0, and Sweden, who took Poland's place in this championship, as Poland for some reason declined the invitation. I don't know why they declined. Maybe it was just maybe they just didn't feel like playing, but I don't think that's it. If anyone has some insight to this, why Poland declined the invitation, do share in the comments. I will of course pin your comment or give it a heart so everyone else can see it. But yeah, that's the game. I really do hope you enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it because it was a very normal game where just both players have the bishop pair, and then just little details mattered where Black was constantly trying to trade the queen, trade the queen, trade the queen. Nepo did not allow it. He created little advantages, and then when Black finally was able to trade the queen, it was far too late, as Nepo already had 2 passed pawns which were just too strong. But yeah, once again, I do hope you enjoyed it. I would like to thank Tony Clements, Mark Huberty, Dennis DeYoung, Carol Krensky, and Tomas Turbado for your contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon, hopefully with some more interesting content. We're going to check up on games from the World Team Championship, and we are definitely continuing the Capablanca saga. Also, thanks to David Lada for such nice photos. I will put a couple of useful links in the description below where you can also follow his work and follow the official FIDE streams and FIDE channels. So yeah, thank you all, and I will see you soon.